money plenty. We are with friend them just a smoke and a drink, no liquor on table. Big up your friend and your dogs, them near you, them well prepared. Still we give thanks for life every day of the week. So we do it when we touch the road, everywhere big girls surround we. Nah beg nothing, can we pocket them now.
Keep calm, but listen on.
Rocking the waves with Kaieteur Radio.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM.
Kaieteur Radio.
Dave's West Indian Imports is a wholesaler of all types of seafood with their own processing plant. Dave supplies supermarkets, restaurants, hotels, and bars. Place your orders now on telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. With fresh seafood daily, Dave's offers custom cuts of your choice: snapper, trout, banger, gillback, shrimp, crab, and more. Order today. Dave's, Guyana's largest exporter to the USA.
Surprise your family today with a nice vanilla-flavored cake made with Maid Marian cake flour. It's perfect for the birthday, anniversary, special occasion, or just celebrating the joy of having your family together. So get a pack or two of Maid Marian cake flour to make that moist, fluffy, vanilla-flavored sponge cake, donut-shaped cakes, Swiss rolls, and other delicious baked goods. Bring on the smiles with Maid Marian cake flour. Made and packaged not by hand by Nomilco, the National Milling Company of Guyana.
National Milling Company of Guyana.
Craving a meal that's big on flavor but doesn't break the bank? KFC has got you covered with the KFC 3-piece meal deal. Get 3 pieces of chicken, fries, mac and cheese, a biscuit, and a drink. All for just $2,200. It's the perfect deal, available every day. Enjoy your 3-piece meal deal at KFC today. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Hey, good evening and welcome to another Hello, good evening and welcome to another program of the Sean Devers Sports Watch. It's Tuesday, September 9th. We're still in the year 2025. Our guests tonight are West Indies and Guyana, former Guyana captain Ronnie Sarwan, Trinidad and Tobago and West Indies fast bowler Anthony Gray. And of course, he's going to join us about 5 minutes late. He's on another program. It's going to be the voice of former Guyana, well, not former, Guyana-based, US-based Guyanese Basil Butcher. This program comes to you with the compliments of Dave's West Indian Imports, KFC, Namalco, Builders Lumberyard, and Survival Supermarket. Good night, everyone. First of all, I want to say rest in peace to Nigel Harper, died over the weekend in New York. He played for DCC for a number of years, and he was one of the neatest cricketers. Of course, congratulations to Joshua Jones, having a great season in England, his first, playing in the leagues, and he's already picked up 69 wickets, and he's got one more game to play. West Indies play Nepal in a 3-match 2020 series. The first one is starting on September 27th. Then the second one starts on the 29th, and the third one is on September 30th. And then they go over to India to play 2 test matches. The first one starts on October 2, and the second test is scheduled to begin on October 10. International news now. England 414 beat South Africa 72 in a real one-sided game. They won by 324 runs on Sunday, but South Africa in the end won the series 2-1. It was a 3-test series. And today in Antigua, in the 5th ODI between the West Indies on the 19 side and Sri Lanka on the 19, West Indies One, a good partnership, ninth wicket partnership, in fact, by Joshua Van Lang and the other batter. They now lead the series 3-2 with 2 more matches to go. On Friday, they play the 6th ODI, and on Monday, they play the 7th and final ODI on Monday 15th. Well, in CPL, we're going to be talking about a lot of things. St. Lucia Kings on top, 9 matches, 12 points. Trinidad Knight Riders, they're also on 12 points from 9 matches. Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, they got 9 matches with 9 points. And the 4th position is Guyana Amazon Warriors. Well, they've got 7 matches, they've got 8 points. And tomorrow evening they play the Falcons. So that's an important match for Falcons against the Guyana Amazon Warriors. The other teams in the competition, St. Kitts Patriots, 9 matches, 6 points. And of course, at the bottom of the pile, Barbados Royals with 7 matches, just 3 points. In the women's department, they've got Barbados, Guyana, and Trinidad, the 3 teams contesting that tournament. Guyana beating Trinidad in the first match by 6 runs, and then they beat Barbados Royals in the second match by 7 wickets. Tomorrow, TKR, that's Trinidad, play Barbados Royals. So the action continues tomorrow from 2 o'clock, and then the night match between Guyana and Falcons. Good evening to everyone, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, in Radio Land or in TV Land. Yeah, good night to everybody. We've got on the line all 3 of them. Yes. So good evening to you guys, Ronnie Sarwan, Basil Butcher, and of course Anthony Gray. Yes, we are now seeing you guys. We had a little bit of technical problems to start, but we're back and running now. So good evening to you guys. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Good evening to you, Sean, and good evening to your listeners and viewers.
Yeah.
Good evening, Sean. Good evening to the panel, and good evening to your viewers and listeners.
All right. Well,
good evening to all. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Let's start with you, Ronnie. Want to say good night also to Joshua Jones. He's playing in England. He's doing quite well. What? This is going to be off the topic tonight. What do you think of Joshua Jones?
You hear me?
Obviously, I think he has a lot of talent. Of course, a few years ago, when we were made selectors for Guyana, they were concerned about players' fitness.
Yeah.
And he was one of those players.
Yeah, he said he's worked a lot on his fitness now.
He has worked extremely hard on his fitness. But obviously, he's not where in terms of the where we want him to pass. But I think for someone like that who was put in the effort and gotten to a stage where it's very evident that he has put in the work, would obviously make him eligible, because in terms of his work ethic, I don't think that can be questioned. There's always been an effort. I think there's still a bit more work to be done, but eventually I think he will get there. But I think he's a young man, obviously, who puts in the work, and he's being rewarded for it presently in England.
Yeah, well, he's got 69 wickets. He's got 1 match to go, and he's going to be back home, I think, at the end of the month or sometime like that. Yes, we look at the CPL. You guys, what do you think of the CPL so far? Just 2 matches in the Guyana zone has been played, and then we've seen Colin Munro, very consistent, the Trinidad opener. He's got 369 runs, and consistent, to my mind, the best batter in the West Indies, Shai Hope. He's gotten 4 half centuries so far, and he's gotten 346 runs. But when we look at the top performer, Colin Monroe, he's 38. When we look at the top bowler, Imran Tahir, 46 with 14 wickets. What does that tell you? Trinidad and Tobago has got a lot of players over 35. What does that tell you, that experience is better than youth, or it's just that the youngsters are not living up to their potential? You first, Rani.
I think from obviously experience plays a major role. I think it's very evident in terms of performance. But also, if you were to flip the coin, it's very disappointing to see, especially where young players not coming through the system in terms of being consistent and square runs and trying at least to make use of the opportunity. We always we're well aware of Monroe, Pollard, Shea, of course Imran Tahir and so forth. But I think it's disappointing not to see some of the young guys coming through.
Yes, Basil, your thoughts on that?
That's been a disappointment for me for this tournament. I've stated this in other places, and you pointed it out, the Trinidad team, a veteran-laden team. But I think it also says a lot in terms of the standard of the tournament, that those guys who are past their best are able still to compete at a high level in this tournament. Look, I made a statement in jest that Pollard was washed up, and he maybe hurt me, because since then Pollard has been on a tear.
Yeah.
Right? What has been disappointing for me is Puran and Hetmire. These are the two guys that a lot of us would say would be the guys who would be trending upwards, and neither of them has been able to move in that direction. And I commend Shea Hope, because for me, what I like about Shea Hope is that every time Shea Hope walks in the middle, there's an expectation that he's going to perform well. He could get a one ball this cricket, but the way he approaches his innings, that consistency, you feel comfortable every time Shea Hope walks in the middle. And right now, I don't feel that comfort when I see Hetmire. I don't feel that comfort when I see Puran walk to the middle.
All right, you're the veteran here, Tony. You're a fast bowler, played for the West Indies, now you're a coach. Do you think in the shorter form, experience counts more than skill? Or how to execute the skill you've got? The older you get more matured in the shorter form.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, the T20 game is a very intense game. And in fact, it's the most intense game. So it's not just about skill. It's not just about the nuances of the game, but it's about how well you deal with pressure situations. And remember, these guys, the age guys, the guys who are still performing in the CPL, they have been through a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different situations. They've played in different countries against different opposition. So that must help when the pressure is on. You look at West Indies cricket overall, in all formats of the game, you have to give players time to make the transition. But in this era, they're taking a little bit too long to make the transition. I'm happy with some young players in the breakout league showing that they have the quality to play at the highest levels of T20 cricket in the Caribbean, which is CPL. Karima Gore, for example, Akeem Ogis showed good quality with the bat. I love the way Nathan Edwards have performed. Raymond Simmons, they showed good quality with the ball. So we have talent there, but like the other formats, they will take long to make the transition unless we prepare them earlier.
And would you guys say that our bowling is okay, but our batting is the problem? We've got a couple of batters who can go out and make runs, but especially the top order, especially the Guyana Amazon Warriors, they've changed like 100 batsmen in this short tournament at the top of the order.
Well, somebody made a point. I heard somebody made a point earlier today that since Chandapal Hemraj has no longer been part of the Amazon Warriors, Guyana, and when he said that, I thought about it, and yes, since his departure from the top order for Guyana, Guyana has been struggling with the opening pair. We always seem to be chopping and changing. And then obviously this year no Gorbaz because of the Asia Cup. So that puts us in even a more serious bind.
And to my mind, Anderson is one of our better batsmen, but he's not yet ready for the style of 2020. His style is not ideally suited for 2020. You had him in the
Why
middle.
you say that? Why you say that, Sean?
Because,
Why you say that?
because he scores too slowly, and when they ask him to open, they want positivity, and so he plays rush shots. No movement of the feet, swings the bat. And that's the problem with Anderson. He's a classy batsman, but he's got to go back to first-class cricket, get back into the West Indies team, and maybe next year he'll be more suited to the 2020 format. It's all about match awareness for him.
Sean, to all due respect, I think moving of the feet in this era, I think they've gone through the window and the door a long time now.
But he does that in 4-day cricket, and he scores runs.
Yeah, but Sean, I think Anderson is a very positive batter. It's just that maybe, as Tony said earlier, he's very young in this format, so he has not seen all the various scenarios and how to work them out. But Shea Hope, Anderson bats to me, if I mean they talk in terms of style and so on, he's just like Shea Hope. But Shea Hope is a way more experienced guy and has worked on his game to fashion it to where he can compete really well at T20. So I wouldn't say that regarding Anderson. I think it's just a matter of experience with him.
Well, yeah, but I also believe that opening the batting as well, although it may only have a couple fielders out of the circle, is very high risk cricket as well. And the surface in itself in the Caribbean, most of them not conducive of hitting through the line of the ball or even trying to hit over the top.
Yeah.
So I think that is something you have to consider. That's why you don't really find the top order kind of getting off to a quick start so far. It hasn't really been consistent
for Guyana. But Monroe
Sean,
is an opener.
Sean,
sorry.
Sean, you wouldn't ask me about the batting, but let me just comment on Anderson. I think that there's some technical issues. I think that the way he positions himself when he's in the batting stance is towards the onside. So he'll have problems driving the ball. His bat comes from over to slip, it looks like, because that's where he faltered in his first test match. Against Stark, the ball came back and he created a space between bat and pass. So I think there's an issue there with his technical proficiency, and that needs to be looked at. But he's a good young player. He scored a lot of runs in regional 4-day competition. But these little technical glitches need to be looked at and smoothed out very quickly.
All right. Well, when we look at the bowling attack of most of the teams, that's not really the problem. What can we do, though, to fix our West Indian batters?
Sean, I don't necessarily agree that our bowling attack is something for us to not worry about.
No,
because
it's the least of the worries.
It's
less worried than the batting. Our batting is the most problematic aspect of our cricket.
I wouldn't necessarily say so, Sean, because we lose a lot of games at the international level, more so because of our bowlers, more so than the batters. Because our bowlers can't defend runs and at various stages, particularly when we have to defend runs in the
You're talking about white ball cricket?
No, I'm talking about T20 only. I thought specifically about T20. Yeah, talking about specifically about T20. In the death overs, our bowlers, I mean, since Bravo has retired from playing T20 for the West Indies, we still haven't found the consistency at closing out games. So I wouldn't push aside.
But sorry, but if you're going to use Dwayne as a benchmark, I don't think that's a good. I don't think that's a good example.
No, I am not using Dwayne as a benchmark. I am saying since he has left,
he would have probably done it early in his career, but I think the latter part of his career, He was struggling to bowl really well in the Deto, even in the IPL and stuff like that. So there
Yeah.
were challenges there.
hmm No, what I am saying is that in terms of at least a reliability for us in the death overs, since he retired, that's gone out the window. Period. I know he
Yeah, but
struggled.
what I think we also so I think sometimes we tend to forget that the game has evolved so much,
Yeah.
and guys have become so creative. It becomes very difficult to bowl to them as well. So I mean, you also have to take that into consideration that bowlers who have done where they were not playing reverse sweeps and these paddle sweeps that they play off of these Yorkers and stuff like that were
hmm
never done before. Now we're doing it, so it makes it way much difficult to bowl to in the death over. So I think if the bowlers go to 10 runs and over now in the last over, the last 2 overs, it's I mean
That's
20.
good. That's
That's
good.
good.
That's good.
Take into consideration how creative guys have become now.
All right, let's go for a short pause for business calls and we come back.
Surprise your family today with a nice vanilla flavored cake made with Maid Marian cake flour. It's perfect for the birthday, anniversary, special occasion, or just celebrating the joy of having your family together. So get a pack or two of Maid Marian cake flour to make that moist, fluffy, vanilla flavored sponge cake, donut shaped cakes, Swiss rolls, and other delicious baked goods. Bring on the smiles with Maid Marian cake flour. Made and packaged not by hand by Nomilco, the National Milling Company of Guyana.
National Milling Company of Guyana.
Dave's West Indian Imports is a wholesaler of all types of seafood with their own processing plant. Dave supplies supermarkets, restaurants, hotels, and bars. Place your orders now on telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. With fresh seafood daily, Dave's offers custom cuts of your choice: snapper, trout, banger, gillback, shrimp, crab, and more. Order today. Dave's, Guyana's largest exporter to the USA.
Craving a meal that's big on flavor but doesn't break the bank? KFC has got you covered with the KFC 3-piece meal deal. Get 3 pieces of chicken, fries, mac and cheese, a biscuit, and a drink. All for just $2,200. It's the perfect deal, available every day. Enjoy your 3-piece meal deal at KFC today. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Yeah, welcome back to the Sean Dever Sports Watch. Good evening to Sash Gokul. He says he's watching from Canada. We talk about the batting and the bowling and how it has evolved. In the first part of when CPL was first introduced, it was unthought of to bowl spin. You thought you would have been hit out of the ground every ball, but now the spinners are the ones dominating, especially the leg spinners.
What, you want me to answer that, Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as Sawan said, rightly so, the game has evolved over the years. In my time when playing one-day cricket, one-day internationals, you would hardly bowl the wrist spinners. In fact, you would hardly bowl the spinners. And when you're using the off-break bowlers, it used to be negative. People used to come around the wicket to the right-handed batsman, for example. But you have to remember, wrist spin bowling is an attacking option. And it's great to have wickets in the power play or the middle parts of the innings or the back end of the innings, because batsmen are going to go at runs. What we have found is that the ball turns sometimes prodigiously from the wrist spinner. Look, Shamsi, for example, he has started off badly, a little scratchy, and now he's found the loop going and he's spinning the ball, and it's very difficult. At all stages of the T20 game, you have to do something with the ball. So you have guys who could swing the ball. Amir, for example, is a wonderful, not just power play bowler, but a death bowler because he swings the ball. And the wrist spinners turn the ball both ways and they attack both edges of the bat. So that's what makes them dangerous, and batsmen will have to go after them. It's not like a test match or one-day international when you have time to settle down. And hence the reason why they get in a lot of wickets. I mean, Imran Tahir, he's got 14 wickets. and he's the most penetrative bowler this year, and he's 46 years old. So the wrist spinners and spinners in general are a key component to the T20 game and winning T20 matches.
And even Sunil Lorraine has not picked up as much wickets in matches as he did before, but he's still frugal.
Yeah, well, he's had a hand injury, so he's fighting that injury. But again, if he's not getting wickets, he creates a lot of pressure for batsmen. And you can punctuate his overs in any time of the game, any time of the T20 game. So you can call him for one over to slow down things or to get a wicket, or you could call him for another over at the death. So, you got a bowler who can be situational in any time of the innings. So you have somebody with the vast experience also. But he's not turning the ball like he used to. And obviously, there were some issues with his bowling action, but still a very good T20 bowler.
Ronnie, do you feel that in different formats you need different types of bowlers, especially like in 2020? How important is a blast away fast bowler like Shamar Joseph and those guys?
I don't really know if it makes much of a difference, to be honest. I think whether it's you have a blast away, as you call it, fast bowler, or a really good spinner, I think all it comes down to is having good variation. Because if you don't have those sort of qualities, I think, especially in the T20 format, you will be punished. It doesn't really matter how fast you bowl or how much you could spin the ball. I think there's a lot of variation that these guys are using now that really and truly helps. We have witnessed that before. Two guys who are tearaway fast bowlers. They tend to travel in the 4-6 overs as well. So I think I don't think it really make much of a difference, to be honest.
Basil, do you back the idea of opening with spin?
No, it just depends on the capability of the bowler. If the bowler, look at Akil Hussain. Akil Hussain has been very successful for us in international cricket. He always seems to get wickets in the power play. And as we all know, the more wickets you could get in the power play, it helps to set up the game for you. Because now the batting team is playing catch-up all the time, right? So, yeah, it's a skill, I feel, spinners, because a lot of traditions have been thrown out of the window when it comes to the T20 game, as the fella said earlier, about how the game has evolved. So, yeah, spinners, in my view, need to learn to bowl and master the art of bowling a new ball. Because as a bowler in T20 cricket, if I'm developing a bowler, I want you to be able to develop your skills that the captain can call on you to bowl at any time, in any situation. So it's about you developing all those skill sets that would facilitate you being able to open the bowling if that is what is required.
And as I once said, there are so many shots now that was never in place even 10 years ago. You play the reverse ramp. I'm looking to see if a batsman could just hit the ball behind the wicketkeeper as a straight drive backwards to the boundary. And those things might happen in the future.
Yeah, look, I give you a little joke. I see my dad when he was playing Case Cup spin a ball, and he told him a couple times, "Good ball, youngster." And then the next ball, he hit him between his legs for 4 behind the wicket. Right? So
and that was in the 70s.
I think you're going to see some of those shots being played more frequently going forward.
As a bowler, how would you rate these shots, these new shots that batsmen play, as a former bowler, Tony?
You muted, Tony.
Your mic muted.
The thing about these T20 cricket is not only the external thing, then it's not only the skill, because a lot of bowlers have skill. It's how you can deal with the mental part of the game. And we talk about the stressors of bowling at the death. Dwayne Bravo used to welcome the challenge because he's always been like that. I coached him when he was younger, and he always wanted to be challenged. So he loves that challenge. Some guys fold up. You could talk about Obed McCoy, for example, having the wonderful skill when Pollard was captain, remember he used to get a lot of wickets, but he's had injuries, and subsequent to that, he has struggled. But you've seen signs that his ability is resurgent, but he has to get fit. He's put on some weight, he has to get fit. But it's about skill. You have to develop skill. We talk about Akil Hussain, for example. One of the things that you want to assess about him is the degree of movement with the arm ball, right? Because that is his bread and butter. He moves the ball in different degrees, and that's what creates a lot of problems for the batsmen. So you have to develop your skill, like batsmen developing the ability to play behind the stumps, and West Indies batsmen need to do that, because what you see now is opposing sides in international cricket and franchise cricket too. They're putting the fielders in front of the bat rather than behind the bat. So Roston Chase is one who has developed the ability to play behind the wicket. But the temperament is a part of the game because of T20, the pressures of T20 cricket.
Let me ask the two of you guys a question. I saw something recently about confidence, and talking about a batter. Well, we could put this to a bowler, that if a batter's confidence is solely dependent on him or her making runs, that's a disaster, right? Because the minute you're not getting some runs, your confidence dips. Whereas they're saying you want to nurture your confidence based on how you're actually approaching your innings. You could get out, as you know, there's an inevitability of getting out in cricket as a batter. So what do you guys think about that, where we would teach young players focus in terms of developing their confidence on just their performance at the end of the performance, i.e. wickets or runs? I'll let the bowler take the bowler one, and SARS take the batting one.
So I think lack of confidence basically comes from self-doubt, which is obviously a mental aspect of the game. And I think that's the most important, apart from the talent that you have, especially in this day and age. The mental aspect of the game is very, very important. So if there's any doubt or lacking of confidence, it comes mentally. And once you're mentally strong at this level, and you're able to manage the stress level, and being able to play under 10, 15, 20,000 people under pressure. And I think Coach referred to it just now, Mr. Gray referred to that just now. That would put you in good stead to ensure that you're able to perform consistently. Obviously, you would have challenges through those periods, but I think once you can snap out of it mentally, you'll be fine.
Tony?
Right. When you look at Basil, when you look at the American system, for example, the American sporting system, and you're in the States right now, you realize that very young in the piece, they develop players' mental strength through smart simulation. I mean, the college, the college leagues and that sort of thing, American football and baseball, they play in front of a lot of fans.
Yes.
They learn to talk to the media. They learn to deal with pressure. Their coaches are well versed in not just developing skill and developing physical strength, but also mental strength. So they know how to push the players. You have to look at the background of players too to know how to push them. I mean, Dwayne Bravo, when I had him at the youngster on the 19, he was very strong all of the time. But you look at the backgrounds too, it will tell you that, they come from hard, less than perfect backgrounds, and they will be mentally strong. But a lot of coaches I've found in Caribbean cricket, they really don't push and simulate stress in training sessions. You've got to simulate stress. Somebody like Tariq, for example, what do you call him? A wrist spinner or spinner?
Yeah.
He's all kind of spinner, right? How do you simulate a batsman simulating that type of action in practice? So everything that should happen in a game, you have to prepare for any eventuality, but you have to know your player. If he is not strong mentally, you have to try to insert in practice where he's concerned some pressure, so he learns that that part of the game. He's stronger in that part of the game.
All right. How do you assess this year's CPL? Going down to the wire now when they come to play the playoffs in Guyana.
The CPL, one thing, has been a lot of exciting matches.
Yeah. Well, you always get exciting matches in 2020
cricket at times have not been the best, but the matches have been exciting. So from a pure entertainment perspective, as a fan watching, yes, you want to see exciting games going down to the wire, nail biters and so on and so forth. What you're not getting is I would love to see more. One of the things I love to see more of our younger players being put in these tough situations and to see how they could come out on the other end. But unfortunately, not too many of them getting that opportunity. Some of them have been, but not getting the same opportunity because a lot of the teams are veteran laden, and those guys are the ones who are pulling the weight for the most part. That's the only thing. But outside of that, there's been a lot of excitement.
Yeah, plenty of entertainment, and that's the main purpose, the biggest part in sport. But Tony, do you think that it's easy for the youngsters to get in? Of course, there's big money involved, and everybody wants to win. So you're going to play your best players suited to win, and maybe the youngsters will get left out.
Yeah, it's a conundrum because this is franchise cricket. This is professional cricket. It's about winning. There's a lot of money at stake, and people want to focus on that. You hire professional cricketers, not just in the Caribbean, but all over the world for a purpose of winning. But again, you have to strategically involve the young players. Thank God for the Breakout League. We've seen some excellent talent, and we've seen some talent come to the fray in this competition, the CPL competition. So perhaps we, the CWI, and along with CPL officials, need to look at how we could involve more of our young talent, because when these guys go, the tournament will drop in productivity and maybe hype, because you have Pollard might go at the same time like Sunil Ryan, for example. Tahir, we know how long he will last. So we really need to see much more of an injection of young players, strategically so, from the different franchises, so they can get that experience to develop. So it's a conundrum because they want to win the tournament.
Ronnie, how do you balance that conundrum, as Tony put it?
Look who you're asking that question. No, I think it's look, as much as we may say that we have the Pollard, the Tahir, and the older guys, I think Mr. Gray made a very valuable point that if these guys were not to participate in this competition, there's a possibility that you would have less viewers.
Yeah,
so there's a
because
business
people come
aspect
to
of it
see
as well.
people performing.
Yes, correct. So from that side, with the business aspect of it and attracting people and so forth, it makes sense. Also, what I think we're actually missing is having some of these younger guys, these newcomers performance. At least they kind of have a show on the big stage, so you would know in the direction. CPI would have some sort of confidence in the system, how the players are coming through. I'm sure they would probably be disappointed that they haven't really seen too many talent or too many guys actually performing. And also, if you look at Hetty and probably Puran as well, like my very good friend said earlier, they should have at least been dominating this form of the game. And that hasn't really been happening. So I think from that perspective, you got to be thankful that some of these guys are still playing, but it's also disappointing that some of the younger guys are not, taking the opportunity with both hands.
And I heard it's in the pipeline to have West Indian T20 playing parallel, well, not parallel, playing after or before when there's a gap, to get West Indian cricketers picked for the T20 World Cup and these kind of things.
Right. You mean having a regional tournament?
Yeah.
With just West Indian players?
Yeah.
Well, isn't that the issue with the CPL having a contract and that?
Yeah, they've got a
terms
50-year contract, but I think
Right.
there's some negotiations being made
Okay.
to have
Okay.
a West Indian tournament, but that depends on the calendar of events because there's so much cricket now. Remember when you carried the team to South Africa in 2010? I think there was the penultimate West Indies Cricket Board 2020, and then Trinidad won the next one, and then that was 2012, and then 2013 the CPL started.
Yeah, but the other thing I would like to ask both of these guys is when these young players not getting the same opportunities to perform in this T20, what do we do? What is the program for them back in their respective territories to try to upskill them? And the other question is this, also in regards to the upskilling. Where SARS talked earlier about all the various shots that these guys play today, the ramps and the various sweeps, the switch hitting, and all of those various things. And I know West Indian batters are not as proficient. I always say this. I watch the women from Australia, New Zealand, England, India. All of them could do those shots better than our men batters. And maybe I'm wondering this out loud, is that our bowlers don't face enough of batters with that kind of skill domestically, that when they get up, they don't have a plan of how they could deal with guys who got that ability to play all of those shots. What y'all think about that?
All right, y'all hold those thoughts and remember the question. Good night to Mark Burnett. He's looking at the program. We go for another commercial break, and when we come back, you guys will answer those questions.
Craving a meal that's big on flavor but doesn't break the bank? KFC has got you covered with the KFC 3-piece meal deal. Get 3 pieces of chicken, fries, mac and cheese, a biscuit, and a drink. All for just $2,200. It's the perfect deal, available every day. Enjoy your 3-piece meal deal at KFC today. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Looking for quality lumber for your dream home or an upcoming project? Then make Builders Lumberyard your premier provider. We provide a full selection of rough and dressed lumber, such as Green Heart, Purple Heart, Kabakali, all types of mixed hardwood, Silver Bali, Ditarma, and many other species. We also stock clean and knotted pine doors in various sizes, Qualable posts, farm boards, plywood, and all types of molding. Orders can be cut to any specification and delivered to your worksite. With over 25 years of experience in the lumber industry, we are determined to provide a quality lumber that meets our home builders and contractors' every need. Builders Lumberyard and you will always be a winning combination. Visit our main office at 12 Lombard and Deroy Street or our branch office at 66 Ben Street, Georgetown, or telephone 225-9530 227-0904.
Dave's West Indian Imports is a wholesaler of all types of seafood with their own processing plant. Dave supplies supermarkets, restaurants, hotels, and bars. Place your orders now on telephone 501-4087 or 644-8999. With fresh seafood daily, Dave's offers custom cuts of your choice: snapper, trout, banger, gillback, shrimp, crab, and more. Order today. Dave's, Guyana's largest exporter to the USA.
Now Milko has done it again. We've listened to you, and now available nationwide. Another convenient size packaging of Thunderbolt all-purpose flour. It's here, the 5 kg or 11 pounds new packaging of Thunderbolt all-purpose flour. Now available at your nearest supermarket.
Milko, National Milling Company of Guyana.
Yeah, well, welcome back to the final segment of tonight's program. let's hear the answers from both Ronnie and Tony to Basil's question.
I probably forget the question that I.
All right. The question to both of y'all was this. Yeah. Look, as we were talking earlier about all the shots that a lot of the shots that are played today.
We were talking about So I think in terms of the Caribbean players, I think I've said this before probably a million times. The facility in the Caribbean that we have, I don't think we have enough. That is one. Secondly, I think which is the most important thing is it doesn't make sense we have really good facilities and we don't have the right coaches.
Right.
Right? And I think that has been our biggest challenge. So the problem is compounded. I think once we get these guys the facility and the right personnel, because it doesn't make sense it don't make sense you have a really great or a nice facility, but you don't have the personnel to coach these guys. So that is something we need to fix in the Caribbean. And of course, I said it before that I honestly think that our coaches need to develop much better. We need to send them, just like how we have had guys go into big county cricket and so forth. We send them in those places, whether it's India, Australia, South Africa, to try and gain experience and be in dressing room and see how these guys are coaching presently. Because to all due respect to our coaches in the Caribbean, maybe only for those guys who probably participate in the modern day cricket, although they may not be certified, they would have a lot of experience understanding what it takes now to perform or how to speak to players and how to get their messages over. And that is we've probably got a lot of people as well in the Caribbean who are not open to this sort of type of modern day coaching that's happening. And I think those two areas is areas that we need to fix.
Yeah, Tony.
Yeah, well, we have to understand, first of all, the game is evolving, right? So what we term as unconventional shots are conventional shots in this era, right? That's the first thing that we have to take into account. I agree fully with Saz when he says that the coaching is not really proficient. Again, it's about understanding how to talk to players in this era, because our era is vastly different. Our era is more black and white. This era, you have to communicate in a gray areas, a lot of gray areas, right? So you don't go too hard at players because they're not as mentally tough as we used to be. And they know about communication a little bit more based on technology and, the way they've been brought up. The other thing is that we have to make sure that these guys, batting-wise, are fundamentally sound first before introducing them to shots like what we term as unconventional, but they are conventional shots. My thing is that, for example, I'm coaching tomorrow at, indoor net. And working on the square cut. I am starting off with the back foot punch through cover first, and then the progressive shot is the square cut, right? So that's the sort of thing that we need. We need to make sure that the foot movement is there, which is non-existent in this day and age. And that's why we are not seeing the square cut the way we used to see it. We're not seeing the pull shot, the hook shots. And that's because of surfaces too. For example, you got the Bajans in my day, Gordon Greenidge, Desmond Haynes, and these guys, Viv Richards, because they had fast surfaces and we had potent fast bowlers. So you had to learn to play the pull, the hook shot, combative shots against the pacers. So we have done ourselves an injustice, and we have to educate or re-educate the coaches about not just the fundamentals, but how to insist that these guys are very adept at playing the unconventional shots in this day and age.
Yeah.
Well, Ronnie, I think I asked this question when you were on my last program with the coaches. Do you feel that it's time now we teach youngsters to play 20-20 shots, or
we spoke about it before. Look, I think, and it goes back to the coaching. we have to. I mean, we don't really have a choice. So it has become a reverse sweep now has become like a forward defensive.
Yeah.
Right? So these scoops or whatever they call it, right? That is like a back foot defense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are things that you have to teach them from a very young age or coach them from a very young age. And I heard Mr. Gray spoke about the back foot going across and so forth. But let me tell you something.
You don't need
When
the
a ball
back
going
foot.
at 90 and 95 miles or whatever it might be, you don't really have time to think about where your back foot going. I think sometimes the most important thing is being balanced at the crease in your head is in the right position and your eyes and stuff like that. So I think some of those stuff, like I said before, is that we need to get away from, and we need to have the right personnel to coach our players. I think speaking about a forward defensive now is like speaking about a reverse sweep. So if we want our guys to develop at a young age, we have to start coaching them at a young age.
And there was a time when you didn't want under 19 players to play 2020. Now they have to play 2020 because that's the going thing. And we've gotten now, like we're going to India next month to play 2 test matches.
No, but what we also need to do, Sean, is look, we have to accept there's 3 formats of the game now, which is Test cricket, the one day, and of course the T20. So I think when players are developing themselves, or when we are coaching our players, we got to develop them to play all 3 formats, especially we in the Caribbean, because we're so limited in terms of the amount of players that we've got. Our population is so small. So we have to try and create a bigger pool by getting our players and coaching them to play these all 3 formats.
But we saw
Right,
when
but
Sammy,
the other thing, let me just mention, the other thing is that one of the most pleasing innings that we've seen, or for me, in the CPL 2025 would have been Akeem Ogis. He made a 73. Now his strike rate is 166, right? His average is not too bad, 28.33, and he scored 170 runs. He's batting at the number 3 position. He started off at about 6. This guy is a gap finder. This guy is pleasing on the eyes. This guy is not a power player, but he's a timer of the ball. So it shows unequivocally that, you don't have to be a power player or aerial hitter to make runs. A strike rate of 166, and he's now seemed to be cemented on the Kings team. So it's just brilliant. But the perception that, a lot of young players have is that they had to go hard at the ball. We have some, senior players, Andre Fletcher and Kyle Mayers and these guys, they seem to not be going forward. They taper off mentally because they've not added things to their game. So Akeem Ogi is given the opportunity, bats at number 3 now for the Kings, has shown the ability to score quickly, 166 strike rate, and has shown the ability to put the ball on the ground, negating the opportunity for the opposition to get him out court. Excellent. I was so pleased to see him make that 73, and it shows that we have the talent in the Caribbean.
Yeah, well,
but those 2 names that you call, I think they're pretty much power players. They kind of hardly try to rotate the strike. But I also want to draw a reference to innings a couple nights ago. Shamron Hetimaya. I think he scored about 48 or something like that with effortlessly. Right? So I think obviously there's potential there. It's just a matter of lacking of the consistency and understanding game awareness and so forth. Right? So I don't think there's an issue in terms of Hetty and Puran talent. It's just a matter of them understand what they need to do.
Yes, I think that your president need to bowl to Hetmyer again, because he bowled to Hetmyer. He scored a wonderful 50. Now, Hetmyer, people have to understand something. You can see he has become fitter, right? He's looking fitter. He's lost some weight. And to me, I'm seeing glimpses of his whole potential. And it's nice to see that he has one color hair, black hair.
Yeah.
And he's really, to me, I think that it's nice to see him give some effort with his fitness. And now you're seeing a little potential coming back, and hopefully he can get fitter. But Sal, you're talking about habits there, a muscle memory. Yeah. Muscle memory could work both ways, very good or very bad. So we have to me, he has to do a lot of remedial work to get back the ability to focus and concentrate for longer periods.
And SARS was talking about, of course, I agree with you with the pool getting smaller and smaller. We don't have enough players. But we saw Sammy bring 7 white ball players to play a test match, and they batted like if they were in T20 match. In T20 cricket, you don't have slips, you don't have gully. In test cricket, there are 4 slips and a gully, and so they all got out. How do you change the mindset from T20 to test cricket?
Who's that question, for me or?
Yeah, you.
You're speaking about a specific situation or generally?
Generally.
No, I think you got to be able to adapt mentally. I mean, there has to be a transition for all 3 formats. And I'm trying to, I find it very difficult that the guys who do well at test cricket or one-day cricket, they can't be consistent at both. But yet, some of those guys who don't participate in the test matches, they do pretty well in T20 formats. So sometimes I find it very hard how it happened, because I think if you're good at one level, you're supposed to be good at all 3 levels, right? Or all 3 formats, I should say. So I think it's more of a mental breakdown, a mental set, because I honestly don't think it's how. Technically, they've proven that they're good enough because they've performed at Test cricket one day and the T20 format. So I think there's a mental breakdown within that whole kind of space.
All right, let's quickly look now at the tournament itself. How do you see the tournament moving forward? Guyana on 4th, St. Lucia Kings and Trinidad Knight Riders, they're tied on 12 from 9 games. Guyana's gotten 3 more matches to play though, and they've gotten 8 points. Antigua Falcons, who they play tomorrow night, they've gotten 9 points because of the washed out game, and they've got 1 more game to play. So if they beat Guyana tomorrow, they'll go to 11, and Guyana needs to win at least 2 of their other matches to get into the thick of things. How do you see the tournament going?
I think Antigua has to win the game.
Yeah.
That's a virtual quarterfinal, if you want to use that term.
If
for
they
them.
lose, they're out.
They lose or win or go home.
Yeah.
So Guyana has cushion, but I think this is what they call the business end of the tournament. So you want to go into the business end striking all irons as good as possible. So Guyana can't afford to slip, because you could slip one game and then you could slip another one. So the game is as bad because Guyana is coming off a loss, right? A close game there the other night. So I think that's a very, very important game in the fixtures coming up.
All right, Tony?
You're saying that Guyana has, 3 more games to go?
Yeah.
They've got 8 points.
The probability exists is that they're going to make it to the playoffs. They have always been potent in Guyana, and perhaps they have to look at the pitch conditions tomorrow, because if they can rough it up or leave it to be roughed up. You get the spinners on, and they will do well. They are supposed to do well. So the probability exists that Guyana will make it to the playoffs because TKR already there, and St. Kitts, St. Lucia Kings already there.
Yeah.
So they have to make sure they win 1 or 2 games out of the 3.
Yeah.
And I think that Guyana is strong enough with great leadership from Tahir, to make it to the playoffs. But I like the fact that they're under some pressure to it, so it will help them in the latter stages of the tournament, which are the playoffs.
And that one
when they haven't been under pressure.
And that 1 point could be a crucial factor for Falcons, because they've got 9, and if Guyana lose to them, they'll remain on 8. And they've got to win their next 2 matches, and if they lose one, they'll be on 10. Sarwan, your quick thoughts?
No, I just want to echo what Mr. Gray said. Obviously, I think Guyana stand the better chance of going through. obviously because they've got 3 games and they do really well at home and stuff like that. Of course, with the pressure and so forth, how well they can handle it, but usually they're really good at the back end of the tournament. But of course, I'm Guyanese, so I gotta be rooting for them to go through as well.
Yeah, and of course, we can't underestimate the 12th man in the stands. But my disappointment was the girls' games. We're playing separate now, a standalone women's tournament exclusively at Providence. And the day games, there are hardly any people. There was a complaint by a female Trinidadian, she's now in Guyana, and she had a YouTube thing called, I can't remember what it's called, but she was complaining that it's not equal. The crowds are coming out for the main